Hi, welcome to Low Carb Me and You. I'm Alexander, and today I have a treat for you. Low Carb Gelato. Gelato is the Italian word for ice cream, but used in English, it specifically refers to a frozen dessert of Italian origin. Generally, it contains a lower amount of fat and substantially less air than regular ice cream. This gives it a density and richness that makes it stand out. Making a sugar-free, low-carb version of gelato is not without its challenges. Curdling of the eggs is one significant hurdle that must be overcome in the keto version as much as in the traditional version. But we also make use of zero-carb milk, such as soy or almond, which already starts curdling when you add it to a cup of coffee or tea. In this recipe, I'll show you all the steps to get it right, including my secret ingredient to prevent our milk from curdling. It's not only delicious, it also contains a ridiculously low amount of carbs. Just stick around to the end for the details. This recipe makes a vanilla gelato, which you can use as a basis for more diverse and flavorful variants. You'll need some soy milk, whipping cream, eggs, erythritol, vanilla extract, and cream of tartar. All the ingredients are listed in the description. We'll begin by separating the eggs. We only need the yolks. That leaves the egg whites for another delicious dish, like an egg white scramble with some cream, chives, bacon and cheese. Add your erythritol and start mixing. I recommend a hand mixer to beat the yolks, or you'll need a lot of elbow grease. Make sure the eggs are at room temperature, as that's the first important step to prevent curdling. Beat the eggs for about 5 minutes. The erythritol will not completely dissolve, but that's okay. Same goes for the consistency. If you're used to beating eggs with regular sugar, then this mixture will not be as airy in comparison. For now, you can set the eggs aside while we prepare the milk mixture. Get yourself a saucepan and pour in the milk. Now add the cream of tartar and whisk it in. Don't overly mix it, we just want the cream of tartar to dissolve and spread. Whisking too much will foam the milk, which changes the structure of the protein, and that's not desirable. In this recipe I'm using soy milk, as I've had the best results with that. But you can also use almond milk. If you can, choose for a barista version, as they have a bit more heat resistance to prevent curdling. A major drawback of soy and nut milk is that they curdle quite easily. If you use them without the cream of tartar, you can expect this to happen every time. The cream of tartar acts as a stabilizing agent for the proteins in the milk. After incorporating the cream of tartar, you need to add the whipping cream and vanilla. Whisk gently to mix and then turn on the heat. We want to heat this mixture to about 80 degrees Celsius or 175 Fahrenheit. You don't want to bring this to a boil, as that will lead to curdling of the milk. While you're heating the milk, keep whisking, just enough to keep the proteins moving and prevent them from bonding and thus curdling. When you reach your target temperature, turn off the heat and bring in your eggs. A crucial step is to temper the eggs. When you pour the eggs into the milk as is, they'll start cooking and you'll get something in between a poached and a scrambled egg. We need to get the eggs hot enough without cooking them, and that's what we call tempering. It's fairly straightforward, but it does require a bit of ambidexterity. My bowls have a rubber coating, so they can't slip, but you can use a towel underneath as well. Give your eggs a bit of a whisk before you add the milk. Then ladle or pour in the milk in very small amounts at a time. Whisk properly to quickly spread the hot milk and prevent the proteins from binding. Keep this up until you've incorporated about 4 tablespoons of the milk. Your eggs should be a smooth liquid. If you have any curdling, you'll have to start over. With the eggs ready, we're returning to the stove. Don't turn on the heat just yet. We're first going to incorporate the eggs into the milk. Slowly pour in the mixture and keep whisking vigorously. Again, we want to keep everything moving so it doesn't curdle. Once you've incorporated the egg, you can turn on the heat. We now need to heat this mixture for about 3 minutes to thicken it. It's similar to a custard, but this will not thicken as much, in part due to the type of milk and sweetener, but also due to the cream of tartar. While you're heating this custard-cousin, you want to keep whisking. Keep moving it around to prevent protein binding and curdling. It will start to foam quite a bit, but don't worry. Just lift your pan from the stove and keep whisking until it deflates again. Just lower the heat a bit and keep going. The last important step to prevent curdling is in cooling this mixture down rapidly. It doesn't have to be cold, but you do want it to be at least room temperature. I'm using 2 bowls with a layer of ice cubes and water in between. Don't forget to add that bit of water, as that'll help conduct the heat and cold across the entire surface. You can also put a bowl or earthen dish in the freezer and use that for cooling, as long as it's not just a thin bowl. Keep stirring the mixture in the bowl to cool it evenly. Don't use a whisk, as you might start to whip up the cream as it cools. You want to cool the mixture as fast as possible, but you also need to keep stirring to prevent curdling. If you made it here without the curdling, you're in the clear. You'll end up with a fantastic gelato. Once it's cooled, you have two options to continue. If you have it, use an ice cream maker. Unless you have an actively cooled ice cream maker, you won't be able to finish the ice cream in the machine. I've got a simple one here where the bowl is frozen, so I can't finish it in there. But I will be using it to get the mixture really cold and prevent ice crystals from forming. As you can see, it's still completely liquid after 45 minutes, and that's fine. We'll just finish it off in the freezer. If you don't have a machine, you can start here at this point to turn it into gelato. Pour your mixture into a preferably cold container. We're going to freeze the mixture and stir every 15 minutes. Without a machine, this process will take a bit longer, but it's not very difficult. You need to stir regularly to prevent ice crystals from forming and to make sure it freezes evenly. Make sure to scrape your edges and mix well to break down the frozen lumps. You can use a spatula, fork or spoon, all up to your preference. You'll notice it'll start to thicken over time as it freezes. When it reaches a consistency where it doesn't really flow anymore, but you can still stir it, then you know you're done with the stirring. This is also the point where you can add stuff to the gelato, like chocolate chips, fruit, a fruit compote or coulis, whatever you feel like. Once you've incorporated your flavors and fixings, you can let it freeze completely. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, gelato is a denser kind of ice cream. That means you won't be able to just scoop some straight out of the freezer. It'll be quite hard, so let it defrost for about 10 minutes before serving, just enough to soften it up. And use a hot scoop, that'll definitely help. Alternatively, you can pour it into ice cream molds before you freeze it completely. Then you'll have ready to go popsicles whenever you want. You can serve the ice cream as is, but I do like some topping. Add a few red berries, raspberries or blueberries, and some sugar-free chocolate sauce to turn this into a real treat. The real kicker for this recipe is the very low amount of carbs. You'll be hard-pressed to find some store-bought ice cream that can come anywhere near this. This recipe makes for about 750 milliliters, or just over 1.5 pints of gelato. Per 100 milliliters, it contains 1.5 grams of carbs, 4 grams of protein, 14 grams of fat, and about 157 calories. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more low-carb treats. Stay cooking, stay low-carb, and let your taste buds dance with delight.